Okay, let's get started. Let's open some things over here. Hey, anyone who's out there, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Let me just get my webcam on here. Of course, it's not working. Classic OBS. Let's see here. Video capture properties. Use the correct camera. Maybe. This one? Yeah, that's better. Nice. I am visible. Is that doing? Oh, it's doing the flickering thing, isn't it? Hold on. The problem is that. Oh, hold on here. Do I have double audio streams? Then maybe I do. What's this one capturing? Yeah, we don't need two of these. That's better. Right. What if this has got the filter on it? Yeah. Cool. My camera should be available. Why is it not available? Oh my god, seriously? Later, please. Can I just use the camera? Produce an image. Produce an image. No? It's because OBS owns this or something? Like, why is it so hard to just make the same stream setup work each time you do it? Oh my god. Turn this off this for a sec. You won't see anything for a moment, sorry. No, this one. Okay, turn the anti-flicker to 50 Hz and then switch back to stream cam. Hey, I have triumphed over the camera. Alright, welcome. I'm sorry that I had to start off with technical difficulties, but that's just the way apparently. Cool, so what are we doing today? Basically we're going to be working on my game, the Song of the Fae. There's two things I want to look at, and they're sort of completely divergent, so we'll see if we actually get to both, but we're going to look at, first of all, I think, we're going to do some design of units, do some art development, because there's a bunch of, so we have a bunch of units in the game already, which I'll show you in a sec. I'll pull up the art for the existing units. We have a bunch of units in the game already, and we want to do some parts of the game. I'm going to minimize OBS here. Some parts of the game where you're going to basically have these units transform into, like, not even upgraded versions, but just like a sort of twisted versions of them. So I need to do some exploration of what those might look like in sprite form, and I've also got a character in the game that we sort of haven't really firmed up the appearance of at all, but she's incredibly important to the story. So I've got to try and do something towards just getting an appearance for her that actually, like, might work. It's going to be difficult not to get into a spoiler territory here, but so you're being warned, you might get some deep lore cuts here that the general public don't normally know about this game. Cool. So yeah, after if we sort of hit a wall with the units and can't make any more progress, then another thing I want to look at is a sort of design problem that we've known about for a while in the game, and I've got a potential solution I want to explore, but I just want to talk through it, and maybe that'll illuminate sort of the game design process, I guess, a little bit of the way that you would go about solving these problems. Like, you know, you notice that players are playing the game in a way that you're not happy with. How do you come up with ideas for what might fix it? And furthermore, like, how do you actually develop those ideas into something that ultimately will work? So here we're going to talk about, like, going from problem to design solution, and then I've got a rough sketch here of how I'd actually implement this, but with some open questions. So maybe that'll be good. That might be a next stream thing if we don't get through all the art. Sorry, if we don't get stuck, then we'll probably stay on the art for this stream. Let's open a sprite. So first things first, let's have a look at some of the existing art in the game. So a lot of the art in Song of the Fae is done, it's not a black and white game, and maybe I should just show you a screenshot to be, like, perfectly, to orient you a little bit. So if we go to 2pm.studio/Song of the Fae, then you're going to find, yeah, like the screenshots of the game. So it looks like this, right? And you can kind of see from that, if you pull it up next to our little sprite sheet here, these characters over here, like, are basically what you end up with on the board. There's colorizations, there's outlines that happen at runtime, but yeah, we've got basically all the characters in the game in this sheet. So we're going to make some more of these. That's the objective. Cool. Yeah, the game's not actually 1-bit because, like, if you look at the screenshot I just showed. Sorry, let me go back. Yeah, the art. A lot of the art assets are 1-bit, but the actual game composes them together with color, obviously. But we've got this sort of like orange is for enemies, blue is for friendly units. So they're color coded, and so you kind of have some limitations on how many colors you could even fit in there in the first place. I also just think it's really like a fun restriction to work with 1-bit art. It makes it that you have to really focus on the silhouette and make sure everything reads very clearly from a distance. Cool. 1 second. Cool. All right. So I guess we'll get started with Oh, cool! Making a 1-bit game for Game Boy. Are you using Game Boy Studio for that, or are you actually writing your own ROM from scratch? Wrong 1-bit. Yeah, 1-bit with cheating. That's the ultimate version. Cool. Let's set up a new canvas just so I can. No, I'll play realistic things here. GB Studio, awesome. Yeah. How do you find GB Studio? I haven't actually checked it out, but I've seen a lot of people making pretty cool stuff in it recently. Okay, so let's see. Let's pick one of these. And see. What's the size of the canvas? 52 and. Yo, how's it going, Zayman? What's up? Yeah, sorry I'm ignoring your Twitter DMs, by the way. It's because I was going to stream. I was just like, well, I'm going to get sucked into a conversation here, and I have like half an hour left before I wanted to go live, so prioritize this. I'll get back to you. No worries. Thanks for the well wishes. Maybe I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for checking out just the start. Even a little bit is nice. Okay, so let's think about this. What do we got here? We have so this is the actual this is one of the sprites for one of the transformed units already, which is as you can see some kind of like were horse. It's got a horse head. It's got 2 daggers and like human feet. I'm just opening this up to get a size reference for what we're going to want to try and do for the other units because these ones are a little bit bigger than normal ones. So if I trim this down, let's have a look at the sprite size. Okay, my size is fine too. 44, so that means this is actually 21 by 22 in size. So we still need to stay within one of these. Okay, so let's outline this for everyone. This is a 16 by 16 square. I'm using a 16 by 16 grid. This is 32 by 32 square because it's 2 by 2 squares. So we're going to try and draw characters that sort of fit inside this kind of box in here. That's like the size of target for most of these. Oh, the diagram? Yeah, this is this on my iPad. It's from this. It's from Concepts. It's a really nice app. It's got an isometric grid built in, so it makes it really easy to draw stuff for the game. I've started like relying on it a lot more to just plan out the day's work because it's very natural. Yeah, it's the one Stuff Made Here uses. It's free. The paid features are pretty good, but I'm not paying for them. It's basically like the paid features in Concepts are like, so you drew something. Would you like to like draw a bounding box and move it around? You got to pay for that. But you can just undo and redraw it, and that's like the tenuous relationship I find myself having with it so far. Okay. So if we have a look at some of our other characters here, for example, so I want to do two things in this section. We're going to want to draw. There's like two different versions of the Fae Queen as she's going to appear in the game. There's one where she's going to be covered in this in a mysterious robe. So I'm going to take a clone of this little robed character because he might be a useful reference. And there's one where she's going to be what's the right way to put this? I don't know. Not wearing the robe. She'll be showing what she actually looks like. So I might just grab one of my like figures here because we'll try and make a taller version of this kind of sprite as well. This is an insight into like an art process. I'm not saying you should approach character design the way that I do, but I'm bad at it. So I have to rely on things like, okay, so what would it look like if we stretched this to be a bit taller? And then just go from there. Could also, yeah, the legs are a little bit fucked up here, obviously. You know what, let's actually move this to the second layer because I'm going to be messing with the background color all the time otherwise. Yeah, that's the one. And then paste this back on here, get the magic wand tool, delete that. Now we should just have that bit. Yep. So yeah, just clean up the pixels firstly from the resize. Yeah, maybe like that. So she's too thin at this size. I think that probably needs to be, the head's probably a little tall. I'm gonna have a crown there anyway, so maybe that looks awful. That's great. Let's pull this side of the body out a little bit. Yeah, so she's probably, let's think about like, well, look, let's Google Fae Queen. Let's just see what people think a Fae Queen even looks like in the first place. I've got my ideas, but I don't know if they'll match with this. Now see, it makes perfect sense that they would have wings because Fae are typically depicted as fairies, but it hadn't occurred to me that that's something that we could actually put in the design. We'll see if I can make that read. That sounds incredibly difficult to draw, but it might work. What else have we got? So, not a lot of like very elaborate outfits some people think is. I mean, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. I don't know how you'd make the color read in one bit, but I do like the vibe here. So maybe, I guess maybe that's part of it. Like, she doesn't need to be, she can be wearing a dress. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So let's just pull the legs down as like boring static legs for a second because we got to work out a couple things. So it's a bit of a larger character, female character. Usually you're going to want to emphasize that there is a pelvis here with hips. And then I think we could maybe just kind of pull this down into a dress like this. It's got a trail on the floor behind her a little bit for that to work though, right? So this is going to need some detailing, and I think that this is probably a little off. I need the preview window so I can understand the shape. Where am I? There. Yep. Yeah, so I mean, apart from the arms, it's looking okay so far. It just looks really goofy with those arms. Let's shrink that down a bit more. Just keep that down here. Cool. Yeah, so you can see like it would probably make more sense if the arms were a little bit more looked at by the sides at the moment, because this pose doesn't look like it makes sense that way. Cool. So yeah, we've got a bit to play with it. The problem we're going to run into is that like there's just not a lot of room to play with here. I do like the idea of the like Victorian color thing behind her, but I just don't know how to make like, see, this intersection here is going to be the killer, like with the head. You really have to just put it up like that. And I mean, that's pretty cool. Like it's kind of hard to imagine how we do a decent hat on this without just being like, look at me, I'm the queen with a top hat on. Sorry, I don't know why I can't stop myself exploring that direction still. Maybe that's, oh, that's giving me like Maleficent vibes, right? What's her hat look like? Yeah, the two horns. Yeah, this is what I think of when I think of evil. What about this? Yeah. So she's kind of got the like collar all up to the neck thing. That's interesting. We're not going to be able to get any face detail in a sprite like this, obviously, I guess. If I merged that with the head, would it look better or worse? I don't know. Let's leave it like that for a moment, just while I'm trying to make my mind up. Maybe this came out too early, like that. Maybe it would be better. So her pose isn't very dynamic, right? Like, how are her legs supposed to be in this? She looks like she's just standing dead straight because that's what I drew. But if you look at a pose like this, for example, right? Like, she's sort of chest up. Like, her feet are going to be one in front of the other with, like, she's sort of like proudly standing on the back foot. So I think the back foot would be out straight in this position. Like, if you imagine, so that's the pelvis. Like, the back foot's going to actually have to be like kind of like this. So imagine she was standing kind of like that, right? Where you're like, you're basically presenting one side of your body and you like puffing your chest up. That would result in like a twist. So she kind of has like this part come forward, then maybe would be the thing that's missing. Like she needs to be like that a little bit. Well, you probably need your arms when you move forward, don't you? Then like, it's a bit more complicated than that. It's almost more like, I think proportions are just also part of the problem here. You can imagine if we take those out, this actually might work a little bit better because I can do whatever I want with her arms then. And I think I might make her fold her arms. Do I have an example of someone folding their arms before here? Oh, and this guy's folding his arms, but it's hard to read. Let's try a different version of that same idea though. Okay, back on this layer, imagine you like, so folded arms and pixel art are a bit tricky. This is one way of like achieving that effect, right? Where you, yeah, like she's like waiting patiently like this, maybe. Let's just turn that back off again. So the problem, I'm seeing this too much of a gap there. Oh, to there. Maybe that would be better. And then at her size, would it make sense to actually indicate that one of these hands goes above the other? I think it's too much detail to try and fit in. Yeah, probably. I guess the other option, actually, because yeah, like if you look here, she has a staff, and I think that's kind of a badass way to do a pose, typically. So maybe we'll try and get some kind of staff in here where she can. Just think about it, if you're standing this way, which hand would you have the staff in? You probably have it out to the back side behind this foot. So the staff's going to come down like this, probably. Yeah, that seems right. And then if we, well, I'll leave that bit in there for now. And then on this layer, let's say we take this arm instead, and we're going to redo this too. So just remove that one. Instead, we bring it out like it would come down and then attach to the staff, basically. So she's holding it. And then I guess the staff has some like, you know, dope shit on the top. Whoa, it's a staff, yeah. Let's remove the part that overlaps her dress, so it reads behind her. And then, see, in this pose, I always enjoy drawing the like, I'm holding a staff and I have that my hand on my hip. I feel like that's a vibe. And that like, this should really merge down now, yeah. This can then sort of come back a little bit. So this is a bit hard to explain how exactly this works in my mind, but I promise you this part makes sense to me. So let's see, like you're standing like, you can't see me in the webcam fully. Oh, mic level is too low? Really? It's high on my end, interesting. Let me turn this down. How is that? Is that any different? Well, I've had that. Let me know if I've improved anything. Okay, I'm probably just moving too far away from it, to be honest. That's more likely the issue. So if we're standing like, I fucked up this pixel. Well, I mean, as you can probably see, I'm close to the maximum on OBS, and my levels look pretty good to me, but can crank it more. I can't even get this to peak. There we are. Maybe this is lowered at the system level somewhere. Yeah, it's a little... Yeah, okay. Cool. I'll just turn it back down a little bit then, because I'll probably be a little bit too loud. And then I might turn this up anyway, because that's likely... Yeah. We want the room in OBS to dictate where we sit. And let's try not to get too high. That'll do. Yeah, okay. There's like a million places to manage volume. I hate it. There's like on the device, there's on the system level, and then there's actually in OBS. And I can't hear my levels at the moment with this setup. Yeah, I can probably get that improved so I can hear myself better. Okay, back to where we were. I was trying to think about how to stand with my hand on my hip accurately. So the thing when you do this, right, like in real life, the way that this tends to work is that you would like, when you put your hand on your hip, you tend to stick your butt out under it a little bit, and then that forces this leg out like this. You're like, and then that front leg is sort of sitting like making up the stable part of the, so not the stable part. This is the stable part of the pose. Like the force is being pushed through this. Like this part's just here for like stabilization. Is what I should have said. So with that like in mind, how should this look? I think the dress is falling too like at the front. It should probably come down a little bit sharper, like with the skeleton there. Look at that, right? Yeah, so the problem now is that this looks unnatural because I probably needs more of a butt. I mean, I always feel weird about trying to make decisions like this. Like, is that enough ass on this character? Yeah, okay. So the elbow doesn't look great. That's a bit better, but can it be improved further? So that's not dramatic enough. So this is what I was trying to express. Like when you do this, you tend to like push this midsection. Oops. You push this midsection forward. So maybe that's what I'm missing, is that the hips haven't come forward in the pose in the way that they should. It should be more like this by that logic. This back leg is now wonky though, because the dress is going to be, it should be in a straight line and falling along the leg. Yeah. A little room for ass, obviously, like I said just before. Yeah. It's looking better, I've got to be honest. It is, it's looking better. This can probably come down to the floor now. So the thing is, I might have made her a bit too badass so far for the character pitch. Because she's not yet like a, she's not a fully grown queen. She's like a late teen who's been promoted to the role, if that makes sense. So maybe she's a little too like impressive looking here. She should look a little bit more like she's working out what she's still to do. I wonder what the hair should be. Like this often looks good, but maybe not quite like that. Maybe like this. Maybe like, yeah. How are you gonna do a hairstyle on someone like this? Hey, Eliza. Pigtails. Is it possible? She looks like she's a jester. That's great. What if you removed those connecting pixels? Oops. I just deleted them all instead of moving them. Cool. Well, that's hilarious. She looks like Harley Quinn. Let's not do that. Well, maybe, actually. Maybe we will want to do that, but we'll see. It does make her look more like a teenage girl. It's just not really. Like, it's just hard to get this to read. She's gonna look like Mickey Mouse. That's even better again. There's too many options, man. There's too many ways this can look. So one of the looks I wanted to try and mess around with here is like a sort of emo looking hairstyle, but let's see if I can even make that work on just a head in a vacuum sort of setup. Like, because the problem you run into with one bit is that you're like, how am I supposed to indicate this person has like a long fringe over their head when like the only color I have is black and white to deal with the expression of it? Like, how would you possibly get it right? I don't know. I could make her head bigger. That's the other option we haven't explored yet. I mean, she's allowed to have a larger noggin. Should be a 2 wide neck probably. And then yeah, you can do the cutout. Yeah, it's not really selling me on the appearance of the hair though here, is it? Yeah, it's very hard to do this in one bit. My techniques do not map over correctly. Let's have a look at some 1-bit hair. Right, potentially we want to Google, not Brave search. Not what I was hoping for. What the fuck is this? 1-bit hair pixel art. Useful to be able to click that link in chat, but I'm also realizing now I have links in chat enabled. Nobody post any naughty links. Yeah, see, she looks like Bubbles, I suppose, if you do this. I just don't know how to even create like the boundary between the hair and the head, because like, how do you make the dividing line work here? It's like, it's always going to look basically ridiculous, I think, to draw anything in this shape. You can sort of like, if you squint, you can imagine like that the line here does mean the hair ends, but like, what does it mean about the shape of the head, right? Like, that doesn't make sense. I'm actually surprisingly tempted by some of like these the things that looked absolutely ridiculous to me before, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, maybe this is like a good way for her to look. Oh, what about that? I mean, this just makes her look exactly like a jester. She could have horns. There's no reason why you can't have horns, but let's just, once again, we're back to the badass version of this. Look, I don't hate it, but I'm gonna say that that's not gonna do it. Yeah, I've been thinking about a tiara as well. Tiara, it's kind of hard to make that read properly because if it's stuck to her head, right? She's gonna look like she's just got a quiff, which is kind of hilarious. That makes it look like she's covering her eyes. Maybe if we go one high with the gap, but then like, does this look like just floating? Sorry, does this just look like it's floating above her head? Yeah, a little bit. Maybe you could do like this, the big tiara with a gem on the front, but then, I mean, it's not reading, is it? Yeah. You can kind of see it. I mean, let's not sweat the head too much for now. We can return to that part. I'm just trying to decide if this is like a good outfit overall. I mean, it does express like the epicness of the fight, I think, fairly well. The other thing we have to do is make the cloaked version of this. So we now have the silhouette of that one. Let's see how we can adapt this silhouette guy to help us. This is on this layer, that's why. Yeah. So just fill that back in. This layer, delete the filling, grab it, move it over here. Actually, sorry, I'll clone it over there instead of that because I want to be able to look at it to reference how it looks. So yeah, if you look at this and then you were to just boop, oh, that's not going to work, is it? Because the body really should be, we want to search the body, not the head. That's what I'm trying to say here. So imagine, can't believe I didn't think of the staff even though it was in this sprite right next to me. I had to simply Google the image result. If you bring that down, we've basically already done it. It's actually pretty good. I kind of like that the head would completely not resemble the real head. I think that's kind of funny. But let's make the vertical height approximately line up, because there'll probably be some reveal moment. Yeah, that's cute. And then perhaps keep this away to the side still. So this is like no arms, no, can't tell what the shape of this character really is in this context. Some people sometimes draw the cloak doing this on the ground as well, on the front. Maybe that's the right way to do it. Throw that down. Nah. Okay, then maybe we'll... Look, this should be like fastened up here or something like that. Make it a little bit more elaborate. Yeah, what does that look like? That's mysterious, right? And then you can make it peel away a little bit there. This is almost at the level of detail where a little bit of that like suggests the folding of the material would be nice, but I'm not sure if it actually adds anything here. Cool. So if you have like, oh, let's recolor the staff at this point to just be like this, shall we? And then just holding it here. That breaks the line. Let's not do that. Actually, maybe I should do that too to make it very clear this is contiguous. So yeah, you can sort of see, I think, if I layer them. Oh, well, of course I'm not going to be able to tell properly, but you got this one, you got this one. Yeah, I can imagine some kind of transition between those. I'm not going to draw the animation of them taking off the cloak. That would be difficult. Let's save that for a day where I feel more ambitious to animate such a difficult thing. The folding comment I made before, it's just the detail comment I made before, makes me wonder if we should, try and create some structure on this outfit, like this, for example. Like, I mean, she looks way more defined if you do that. Yeah, I can kind of see it. I don't know if we need both of them. So what does that change? That makes this thing read really nicely. I'm tempted by that. That's too much. Yeah, she's made of bones if you do this. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. So turn that back on. Move this one back. Oops. Hey, come in. Yeah, over here. Cool. So I'm going to call that progress already. Good start. Do I want an idle animation for her yet? Don't want to do a casting animation for her. Don't want to keyframe her. I don't think I'm going to do any of those things. Those aren't very difficult. Let's save for now, and then where's my planning little thingy? Yeah. So, whoops. I'm going to close this now, I think. Yeah. So we've been doing this one. Let's look at some of these other ones. I'm going to open up the Miro board so I can refer to all the notes we've got on ideas for characters. Song of The Fae. There is a new version. Do I need it? Oh, you can see, okay, so maybe it's worth zooming out and just showing you. This is the mastermind planning document we've got at the moment. So there's like a lot of different subsections in here. This is like general thinking that Ricky and I have been doing together. This is plans for so like buffs, debuffs, traits, and like attributes of units, the gameplay sub-mechanics, I guess. This is how to deal with the fact the game should be difficult, how to control difficulty factors that feed in and out of it. This is enemy designs, unit designs, the areas of the game, the what kinds of rooms should be in the game, how do the biomes connect to each other, what enemies are found in what biomes, how the procedural generation system will work, like the iterative process it goes through to pick how to build rooms based on biome. And then, naming for the randomly generated names. So that's this is like actually not that much of the game is in here. We only started doing this year, but it's been really useful to keep a reference for everything. So let's look here. So you can see I was these names here in this document. Of course, you would do that to me preview. In this document correspond to things on this board. I've got Merc, Lancer, Monk, Archer. Oh, let's play off the screen for you. Merc, Lancer, Monk, Archer here. So those are units that exist. Merc, Lancer, Monk, Archer. And then these are the corresponding, the ones I was going to try and think of designs for. So, we've already got the Rogue and the Werehorse. That's what I was showing a little bit before. This guy, despite the fact this sprite is called Knight, it's actually the Werehorse, where, you know, at night they turn into a horse, I suppose. That's what that means. I don't know, is it a full moon for horses? Like, what events do horses care about? So we should just pick one of these, but what catches my interest the most? I think Viking could be interesting to try and express. The little hat with the horns, you know, what weapon would they have though? Well, Fisher, that's also interesting. Like a Poseidon type dude. Both of those seem doable. What would the dwarf have as his weapon though, right? Like a hammer? It's a classic dwarf weapon. The Gambler, I can't get the idea of it just being Gambit from X-Men out of my head. I don't really know how I'm going to convey that in that resolution. I do feel like it would be very funny for it to be like this, but I don't really see how to express the cards at like a, you know, 1-bit, like a couple pixel resolution. The monk, the shaman. I mean, like, what is the sort of collective opinion of what a shaman actually looks like? It's gonna be heavily influenced by like fantasy. So like WoW shamans is what I'm expecting to see here. Yeah, so a lot of like, barbarian-esque like pelts and nature elements. A lot of horns, staffs. Yeah, skulls, sacrifices, ornate headwear, jewelry. I mean, that's just impractical clothing. Yeah, okay. Ooh, that's cool. I wonder if we can get something like that in there. It might be hard to express, but it's a pretty dope staff. Alright, so let's just mess around with some of this stuff. I think we're gonna try maybe the Viking and the Viking, Fisherman, and the Shaman are my first picks here. So we've got, this guy looks a little shaman-esque in some interesting ways. Oh, it's on the wrong layer again. So this is made at the start of development that's proven to be really useful. I just drew like a lot of these little dudes based off of other references and just exploring what's possible. And we haven't even used all of these in the game yet. I'm still coming in here and just finding that there are good references for new things that we're actually wanting to implement. You can also see, you can see the etymology of some of the units here. We went from big chungus to littler chungus to little chungus with a big backpack. So yeah, I guess I was thinking about this guy. Please don't be on that lap, be on this lap. Think about this guy being taller with like that helmet. This might also be a good archetype for the dwarf unit though, actually, now I think about it, because if you, with a Viking unit, because if you do this, like we have a Viking helmet now, wow, look at us go. And then maybe we move the armor down a little bit just for a second, because I've got to think about, obviously a dwarf must have a beard. That's like the only thing that anyone ever uses to identify them in fantasy. Maybe their eyes don't have to be quite so big. He's like a squinting dwarf. It's really good. So yeah, if you were to have a big beard, how would I make that read with the rest of the head, right? Let's just delete out all of that. And then you've probably got to put like that, and then maybe he's got like eyes up in there. He doesn't even need to have eyes, because most of the units don't have eyes, actually. So maybe he's just like, I kind of like that. He's like got the helmet a little bit low, just like covering up his eyes, so you can't tell what he's actually thinking. I kind of want this middle part to be a bit wider, I think, to fit the size of his head. Hard to say. I'm worried about this too. I think that would be more convincing, yeah. Does it need a little bit on top of the hat? Maybe. Can you draw another dot? What is happening here? What mode is this? Am I restricted to the cell for some reason? There we are. No? What? Oh, we're on the wrong layer. Mixing the layers up again. Okay. Take this region, put it on this layer. Now take the entire region and put it on this layer. Go back here, this, you, yep, and you, cool, fixed it. See, the thing is that these guys don't actually have to be tall, but they can be chunky, and that's maybe going to be a much more distinct way of illustrating them. I've got to imagine this is going to get a bit taller too. Yeah, so like... Yeah. So he's just got like, he's a strong man with strong shoulders. This looks kind of hilarious. Maybe I'll bring these in a little. Would it be like that? It'd be like that. You could have a shirt, right? Like, it's not unheard of to just do it like that way. Maybe that way. So it's like, yeah, it does look a bit like it's fastened that way. Trying to see if I can get the like armor plating to look like armor plating. That's pretty good. It's a pretty static pose. That's the other thing I'm thinking about here. It could be more interesting to look at. Not too bad though. Look, it's not awful. I'm not sure if it's the right direction. Let's rewind and then just like sketch a little bit instead. So if you think of a dwarf, you kind of like, you want to start with a circle because dwarfs are often depicted as being fat. So think of like, that's his stomach, right? And then you've got like the upper body stacked on top of that. So there's the shoulders, yeah. And then like you'll have an arm here, and then you'd have an arm behind as well. And then he probably has some like stumpy little legs that are a bit splayed like this because he has to support his girth. Yeah. The circle's not quite reading at the moment, but that's fine. You also kind of need to do this to make a belly look really big, but also that might be too cruel. Like, he looks extremely fat with that design. Yeah, it's not going to read properly if that says. I kind of like this. I just don't know how I'm going to put a weapon in here as well. Like, he needs a hammer. And like the way you hold a hammer is usually with 2 hands. I'm not sure how this guy would even hold anything with 2 hands. His arms are too short. Okay, we shall continue. Where's my document? Oh, it's over here. That's okay. And we're going to also think about the shaman, yeah, and the fisher. That's right. So the fisher has a trident in Ricky's imagining here. He also has a net. Don't know how to draw the net. I guess it could be a net or a stick. He's like a... I'm now imagining that the fisher guy is like just a normal looking unit, I guess, like one of these. But in each hand he has, in one hand he holds a trident and the other he holds a net. It's like, he's got this, like this, and it's got like a catching net on it of some kind. It's too big. I made the thing too long. Yeah, imagine like that, and then it's like, oh god, how do you draw a net at this scale? Everything is impossible. Yeah, he's got a net and a trident, right? So the trident can be like the Fae Queen's trident, like pretty long. You probably do it like that, right? Maybe you'd make that joint a bit further so it reads better. Yeah, so I mean the trident we can definitely do, and we can make him taller. What's the classic like fantasy fisherman is an approach? Let's have a look at that. Google again. The hat's cool. I don't know if like it's offensive to just plonk one of those on somebody, but yeah, they also have beards a lot. That's what I was expecting to see. A rod. You've got a harpoon. It's a dwarf fisherman. You're a skinny fisherman with like a bandana on. Bandana is a common thing for fishermen to have, isn't it? I don't know why. Once again, another thing that's basically impossible to express at this this scale, I guess. I can make the heads bigger. That's the thing I've got to remember, I guess. Like, it is allowed to just go like, you want to make his head bigger, make it bigger. I think that's closer. The thing is, this line always looks wrong when you do hats with these style characters. What else have we got? Other designs here that are interesting. Probably half of the stream preview, yeah. Let's just check my crop region is good. Yeah, it's fine. What are you doing? Floating in the air. Okay. Yeah, this is it. This is the look. Sunglasses required. I mean, honestly, can you put like? Can we just go a bit like literal and give him a cap? Is a fisherman with a cap. It's gonna look a bit like it's his nose and his Pinocchio. That's what I'm worried about. So yeah, you're sort of torn between a few different archetypes of fishermen here, right? Where we've got like, so this is honestly what I was sort of thinking of, the like scrawny fisherman, like lean from being out for days and just sitting patiently. But you could also go for these like more muscular fishermen. This one's interesting. He's got a hat. A floppy hat does kind of make sense on these guys. If he's considering what they spend all their time doing, maybe we can make a floppy hat work. It doesn't look like a floppy hat if you don't draw it like the right way is what I was going to say. Of course you don't draw it the right way. It's not going to look right. Oh, I mean, okay, I kind of actually like this now. Let's move it up or down. Like, imagine this. It's like he's totally hiding his head in the fisherman's hat. This is sort of, we're like leaning into the problem we were having before by designing it this way, which I kind of like. Like over here, we were like concerned that it was hiding too much of his face, but here you can do the fisherman is like a mysterious guy who wants to be left alone, and so he covers his face. It's hard to draw a floppy hat though. You know, it's just not easy. Okay, yeah, so we're going to delete the net, I think. And we're probably going to also redo all the posture here. So let's just remove the arms. And then, yeah, let's flip back over here. So like this guy hit a strong pose, right? He just kind of stood with like both legs a little bent, like stable. So he's not like, he's puffing his chest up and looking into the distance a little bit. So yeah, he can maybe get away with actually doing this, like literally a little bit in his sprite. And kill the legs, I think. Okay, let's just play around a little bit more here. yeah, that's gonna look silly. But maybe that, and then like, so you saw the way that fisherman was standing, right? Like, it's gonna look stupid if you draw it literally the way that it looked, but that's what we're gonna try first. Why am I bringing so much stuff along with my copy there? Yeah. Okay, this guy, hang on a second. This guy, his ass is out of control, and the way I'm currently understanding the depiction, like a snail man. I think you probably even could use like a bigger head, maybe, to make this read better. Yeah, it does look like one of the Nightosphere demons with that ass. So you can see what I'm doing wrong here, right? Like the pelvis in this picture is like sat backwards, like he's sitting down. Whereas in this one, it's almost like the pelvis is right, like all the way forwards. It's almost the opposite of what I've drawn. Like, it's almost like the legs are doing that underneath him, where he, and then yeah, his upper body's leaning back. I don't know why I thought that his chest was puffing out. See, it sort of like comes up to flat, but this is leaning this way, and then this needs to counterbalance back this way, right? Yeah, okay, that actually has a really interesting vibe to the sprite, even though it's not quite what I was actually going for. So I'm going to keep trying this. He looks a bit like a farmer. We're going to have to think about that. Yeah, this is an interesting way to have to go about it, because you sort of imagine that his shoulders would just be like this here, like a sort of lazily holding it. He's gonna, this looks so good, he's like, I don't give a shit about anything in this pose. I think that's better. The hand out is, that's great. He looks so fabulous with the hand sticking out like that. I don't know if this is a little much, I think. What about that instead? Looks like a sombrero. That's the best one we've done so far. Or it stops like that. Or it stops like that. Hats, man. You can spend the rest of your life drawing hats. Alright. So, we did not get to what I expected this to look like, but it is actually kind of great. Let's keep pushing. Yeah, he does look like a farmer, doesn't he? Look, that's not necessarily the end of the world. It doesn't have to be a fisherman, but we weren't trying to draw that, obviously. So what are some fisherman-like traits? We could switch the trident to a fishing rod, and that's rond? Rond? What am I saying? We could switch it to a fishing rod, and I think that would be the biggest clarification. Or, yeah, because you got so much detail in these images. Like, what are the core elements when you step back? The big rod over the shoulder with the line is probably the clearest possible depiction to go with. So let's copy paste E, put him somewhere else for a sec. Maybe put him on the grid, hey? Like there-ish, yeah. And then remove the trident, remove the arms for a sec, at least. And let's just think. Yeah, harpoon would also work. Harpoon or fishing rod. I think we could put something over his shoulder. Like, this seems like a really good way to do the pose. I've been copying this pose, so I think we'll keep going with it. If you imagine it goes like, whether it's a harpoon or a fishing rod, it's going to have to go back like that. Put this layer underneath this layer for the time being. Oh, there's a bunch of black pixels in this layer. Yeah. Delete all these bad boys. Oh, no, not the entire thing though. Alright, cool. So you look at that. Does it go one higher? Does she touch his shoulder? Yeah, maybe so. And then he just needs to have his hand like on it at the base. To be honest, this actually doesn't even need to be drawn potentially, but I think it could be good. So he's like, yeah, doing that. And then the other arm is just sort of like abstractly in. This might have to hold something for this character to be readable still, but because you could put his arm up like this to be doing whatever you want. But imagine, so let's try the two different versions of this. We'll try the harpoon and the fishing rod. So if it's a fishing rod, you'd probably have to have the line dangling down with a hook on the end. Hooks are actually kind of hard to draw in a setup like this, but we can do this maybe? Yeah, that's not bad. I think that's going to read a little bit. So that's one way of doing it. And then, well, actually, let's duplicate that layer. Turn that one off. This one's going to be called harpoon. And then the harpoon's design is sort of like, I'm trying to look onto the jaggies. So it's like this, right? Where you've got two barbs usually. That's a bit hard to read. Also, he's so close to just looking like the Grim Reaper like this. I just realized that. You're like putting this out. Yeah. Whoosh, look at that. I mean, okay. This is a very dynamic sprite with the harpoon on it. So with the harpoon, the scythe on it. I'm kind of tempted by the scythe. What does the rod look like again? I mean, so this has an interesting gameplay implication, right? Which I think Ricky might have hit in here already. Can stun. Well, we could use the rod to like stun remotely. You can also use the rod to pull units towards you, which is interesting because that mirrors the grappler's ability over... Hello? Hello? Do I not have it in the document? I guess we don't have the grapplers written down in here. Whoops. Whatever. I know it. They're already in the game, so it doesn't matter. So, this is a scythe. How do you spell scythe? Is that right? I think I have it the wrong way around. Oh, it was right. Oh, was it with E? That's the real problem. Cool. Duplicate it again. We'll try and get this harpoon design down. Harpoon. Yeah, so remove all of that. And then try it the other way, I think maybe. Like, it's a bit hard to get right in this view. Looks like a toothbrush. That's great. Or a rake. I think the fishing rod's going to be the clearest way to illustrate that he's a fisherman, just because it's so like recognizable as a way of drawing. Cool. So we'll take this, merge it down onto rod. And the problem you're going to have now I've done this is that I didn't check how this reads in the actual color, which will be way worse than what we had before. So we look at that. So this arm needs to get out of the, he's just hanging, I think, honestly. Oh, maybe he should be carrying something, but I don't know what. Like, it's kind of unclear to me what would be a useful thing for him to be holding. It's why he said a net before, but then he has to be like dragging it behind him. I don't know how it's going to fit in the sprite. He's touching his butt? I mean, that works too. Honestly, that's not bad. I kind of like that. This shoulder's too high though. Yeah, that's better. Maybe like, his little booties, his ankles look broken when you do that. Let's not do that. He looks like a, yeah. Nah, feet, once again, feet do not seem to belong. Okay. I like that. Got another fairly useful one. The farmer can go. This might be too different from the rest of the game. That's the thing I'm worrying about. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's coming together. It's this is such a like difficult process, right? Where like you're just sort of trying to imagine what the right way to illustrate these things would be, while at the same time not even being sure of what design you're going with. Let's see if we can get some shaman elements. I think that this is promising in terms of being able to come up with something. Do they all use a staff? Is that the only way people ever draw shamans? It appears to be the case that it is the only way people draw shamans. A lot of loincloth action. Yeah, like this, the exposed upper body. I reckon we could do this, basically. The thing is, I want to start from this design, but I know I shouldn't, because I want the silhouette to be different. So let's start from this guy again, because it's old reliable, right? Is this everything on? It's not. Shouldn't be called rod anymore, should it? Yeah, just keep going. Layer this, cut it out. There we go. Yeah. Place this here, delete that, nice. And then take this guy, and we'll just put another copy. Got too much stuff at the bottom of this canvas. We can make it bigger, we can move everything in the document. Let's just make it bigger for now. We'll stay in the top left corner and just make it bigger. Bottom layer, stop it grid off, then turn it back on, and then save. Yeah. I like the idea of this just having like everything in the entire project in it that I've ever drawn by the end. It seems like a fun way to do it. Cool. Let's take this template again. On the wrong layer. Let's take this template here again and get cracking. So another case of, we don't want them to be taller. We also know we don't want the legs to look like this probably though, so let's just remove all of that. Cool. And then, yeah, like up here, honestly, they don't have to all did the head size upgrade, but it does help a little bit. This one, we're gonna do the like, so this guy is just standing straight, and I think that's actually okay, because shamans, for some reason, are always depicted as being like super serious. So maybe the other body's a little bit forward. This leg will be a little bit forward to compensate with that then. Maybe like that. Yeah, like maybe. So he needs to have like the V-shaped like cutout thing we did before for the Fae Queen, but different. Maybe like this, and then like just connect those together, and then we'll cut out the V shape at the bottom of the torso, like that. Where's my preview window pointing currently? Yeah, point at him. Cool. And then, so obviously we need a staff based on this. I think we might do like him holding the staff in both hands though, so it's not just a copy of the Fae Queen's pose. Like, I mean, like, so imagine like this angle here in front, where like on this layer, then this arm sort of comes down, and he's just like holding that, and then this one comes under and grabs it from there, and then yeah, on the end of this thing is some like dope crazy tangled tree branch type thing is what I was going to say. I mean, I've just made a trident again, but all we know how to do here is draw tridents, apparently. Cool. So yeah, that kind of vibe is what I was thinking of. But I think that once you do this, headdress becomes something you really want to think about actually incorporating, doesn't it? So the fake wing we didn't go with the horns for in the end. How often do shamans get drawn with horns? They have a skull on their head pretty often. Got twigs on their head, headdresses. Yeah, horns of animals, right? Maybe antlers is the vibe then to try and express this. So like that. Those are some complicated looking antlers, but that's actually kind of cool. I think that the shaman can have shoulder pads. That seems cool too. Then you can like, oh, what layer are we on now? Oh, I've just been doing the same shit again. Okay, merge down. Nah, not like that. Cool. So this guy, I'm trying to decide whether this should all come forward a little bit. Like this could maybe go to here, but I think that makes him look too poofy. I do quite like this. So, what kind of outfit is he wearing if his shoulders are like that though? Because I feel like he's not wearing a shirt, the way I was originally thinking about it. Which meant that he had like a necklace maybe? An amulet of power. Too hard to depict, too hard to depict. This is basically, it's a shame that, what was their name? Yeah, Lapote from the start of the stream isn't still here, because this is why one bit is both good and bad, what we're doing here. Like, you just can't actually fit the detail in, which will cause you to think about whether you really need it. So, you know, that's pretty important actually. Yeah, these antlers are probably too complicated. Like, what if you went a bit simpler and we just did that? Yeah, that's better. It also gives you the space in the middle where you're like, look at that. Once again, you want to put the line in, don't you? Yeah, this, that actually does work though. Dark Souls lamp helmet. What's it called? The sunlight maggot. Yeah, this is what I'm thinking of. So when I see our headdress, why can't I see a picture? Sunlight maggot. Dark Souls. And I'll Google that instead of Duck. Sorry, instead of Brave searching it. Cool. Yeah. See here, like this is the vibe I'm now getting from our dude, which is not a bad vibe to get. I do feel like there's something wrong down here. Like, should this just be like this? What did our other reference image actually look like when it came to the legs? We didn't see how they ended. We did. Yeah. Oh, the other thing that they do is incorporate this panel here, which we could do in a few ways actually. Maybe like that. See, it's not, he's not going to look shirtless unless you like put nipples in, but the idea of putting the nipples in to a one-bit drawing is ridiculous. Is he just hench? Like, is he strong? What does that look like? He looks more shirtless like this, right? Because he looks wimpier, which I guess is an approach for shirtlessness. Let's also do the thing where we're going to... Man, I really should have drawn this perfectly straight, considering how close it was to being perfectly straight. What? Oh, we have both layers. In fact, I shouldn't have been drawing any of what I just drew. Yeah, this layer. That's better. Now we remove those, remove these. Yeah, and then we're actually going to do something very similar to what I just did there, but differently, where we're going to erase all the pixels underneath where the staff goes to the body. And hopefully that's going to result in at least being able to follow the line of the staff over him. Yeah, see, this is what we want. and then he's holding the staff, so we don't have to be too clear about how that's happening. We probably do need to be clearer about this elbow though, like that. And you'll notice that his arm got disconnected, which is difficult to understand for the eye. You'll get away with it. This feels a little, yeah, empty without a pixel or two in it. That's probably about as good as that's going to get. I don't hate it. I think the head of the staff is too much with the hat. We need to think of a different demon staff. Probably just put a skull on it if we can draw one. So like, we've got skulls around somewhere, don't we? Oh, I guess we can just try and steal the skeleton's skull. That's cute. Can I put the... I didn't grab it. It was just... No, W can... Oh, it is contiguous with it. Yeah. Okay, so this is almost a little blunt for the design, but it's good. Imagine you've just got like some feathers or something poking out from behind this, and you basically got like the classic shaman depiction done. I think it's probably a little much having him have the spikes again because it overlaps too much with the head. If we look at the staff, the way that they're doing it, I mean, these animals have horns a lot of the time. I guess that's how you're getting away with it. Can I just give this thing horns? Like, is that too much? Would they go on top instead of on the side? Would that be better? I almost feel like it needs to have like a knife blade attached to it. Yeah, they often have this little sticky outy scythe. Maybe they should have a scythe coming out. Like, you know, they do have to do damage. That's pretty cool. That might be a bit busy, but we've got something. Cool. Oops, I've moved everything but what I wanted. I need to do it. I've done it again. Why am I like this? So drawing can merge down onto this. This layer can then be filled in. Cool. On this layer, we now want to take you, put you next to this dude. Yup. Put these guys down. Oop. Didn't get both of them. Who's on what layer? You're on that layer. Okay. Oh, some people are hooning it in the background. Let's bring these dudes down here as well. So bring the preview window down, take it back to 1 time. So that's what we've got so far. Man, those all have pretty good silhouettes. You can see here on the shaman, this is muddy, like it doesn't read what's happening. I might just take the hand off it. The thing is, the hand does have to come into contact with it. Is that better? It looks like he's playing a guitar. Yeah, if I was going to hold something, right, like the lower hand isn't usually totally straight. It's like out to the side and comes back in. It's more like this, like bowed. This might just make it look even more like a guitar potentially. He just looks keen as fuck to use it actually in the preview here. Oh, that looks way better actually. That's a much more expressive arm. And then what? Like, would we go to that extent? No. Would we go leave that pixel in? Maybe. If you do that, then you're going to push to this. And if you do that, you might remove this. And you might actually go as far as like trying to. This is funny. His little feet. I don't think we'll do that one. It makes him look too silly. It doesn't make him look badass anymore. So the thing we're running into is that the critical region for showing that he's shirtless is covered by the staff. We can just ignore that problem for now, I think. Okay, so the fishing guy looks like a fishing dude. Shaman looks pretty badass. Possibly a little over the top with this. It might distract from trying to understand the sprite in game. And then I'm happy with the Fae Queen as well. The thing is, like, what's happened, what I was worried happening here is sort of happening here, where she's not is interesting as the units you're actually dealing with yourself, right? She should be the most interesting thing on the battlefield probably, but also we were trying to subvert expectations a bit, where it's like a little bit. She's meant to be this ominous figure that you're kind of scared of the entire game. I think we've got to remove the eyes now. I've looked at it; it's much better that way. Or they've got to be much angrier eyes. That's good too. Anyway, alright, I'm not too happy with our Viking. I think that he's too different to the other sprites in the game currently. He's not far off being acceptable. It's just not quite there. Is that gonna do it? It helped a lot. We could just bring it in even more. See, he just got a block body now. It's not quite right. The Shaman and the Warlock designs would be identical, whichever one of those we did. We're probably not going to do the Cleric right now. Acrobat. So I don't understand how you do an acrobat. I guess this is another like the ND reference type thing. Yeah, I think read the beard size, Zaman. I think the problem is that like this is the defining factor of what this character is in terms of readability, but the beard is getting in the way of being able to fit any other detail in the sprite. It also should probably be a bit lower down, which just it makes the problem even worse, right? If you do like this, for example. I mean that's actually better that it's going over his clothes. Then it makes it a bit clearer. But I'm still not happy with it. I think we're going to revisit that from scratch probably. Yeah. Okay. And then, oh, sorry, I was going to do the acrobats, right? Oh, well, you just can't see anything but the beard. I mean, maybe. I don't know how I'm going to draw that. Just take the head, like just this bit, and then you put it in another sprite, and then you just make the beard like, ooh, like super duper big. Like, can you just make it that's his like entire appearance is a beard? I could have like one of those beards, like a full poofy dwarven beard. He just has like little arms and legs sticking out of the beard cloud that is his body. Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? I think that's pretty realistic. This is like Prismo almost, is the old man version of Prismo. Every time I gotta change to Google from the Brave for images. Yeah, like it's exactly the vibe. Maybe we should lean into that. I think that's pretty good. So like, how do they end his body? They've got the feet sticking out the bottom of the beard, where it's a bit less like it doesn't come out quite so far, which is probably part of the problem, and it's not so jaggy either. Then you can kind of have like these. I do think it's quite funny to have them be quite skinny little legs at the bottom. So if you look at the preview, the zoomed out one. This is what's going to be the tricky part, is it has to look like a beard and make the perspective work properly. Yeah, that's gonna help. By like roughing up the bottom of it, it immediately will make it look more beard-like to just have these like bits of maybe tufts sticking out. We might even need to do the opposite and do like this in a couple spots, but it's hard to get right. That's not bad. His legs look munted, I think is maybe the right word. Yeah, maybe like that. This other one's going to be the difficult foot. I think we're going to bring it in on this a little bit, like that. Does Old Man Prismo have arms? Yeah, they just stick out the side of his beard. So you're like, I don't know, imagine like it's like this. This is why game development is good. This is better than the other sprite, so we have made progress. I like that he clearly doesn't do leg day. I think that's an important part of the character design now. What does that look like in terms of alignment? It did look a bit better when he sat back. Maybe I should lean into that more, bring it back like this. Yeah, like this completely unbalanced dude. Can I get this to read the right way? Like, oh, that's even better. Yeah, he's like thrusting his head forward a little bit to look stronger. Yeah. That part of the slide messed it up a little bit. The read is tricky to get right, but I like where we're going. Like that. And this maybe? It sort of needs to poof out a little bit over this way, I think, to make it work. Okay, what about that on the outsides of those arms, but with this with a square elbow still. This one feels like it's too far out. Maybe this is supposed to be like here. The thing is, I haven't actually drawn him quite the way I'll need to still here, because we probably need to give him a weapon, unless he's just gonna like punch people in the face, which he could do. Beard whip, yeah, maybe. Hard to draw, but it's it could work. Reminds me of that is not the game. Yeah. Yeah, Beardblade. I follow these guys on Twitter. This game just came out recently, actually, in July, so check it out if it looks like your kind of thing, I guess. Yeah, the entire game is basically like hitting things with your beard in this. You can see like an action shot here, yeah. I mean, there's prior art. You can study it for how to implement beard attacks properly. Yeah, look at this. Look at that. Donking them. Well, look, we have ideas. I think that this guy's better than this guy, for sure. So let's switch the lineup out so I can just look at them all next to each other. Yeah. Oh, that's quite a set of people. What else? Boar, lion. You know what we should have a look at is we do have this guy lying around too, who's pretty cool and is not in this That's double the size it should be. And we can put this guy in. So this was my original attempt for like the upgraded dog unit, but we sort of decided to be a bit less literal with the way that we did them. So I might see if I can repurpose this, sorry, that's the ogre, this body shape into either the boar or the lion. Although, actually, I'm going to get some water, so I might be back in 1 second. Let's use my BRB thingy. Yeah, look at that go. And we have returned. Cool. Oops, do not close OBS, just minimize the window. The dog reminds me of this. Risky click. Oh my god. I mean, this dog's even scarier, but I see it. Alright. Let's actually drink this water. I just got it before and didn't have any. That's the good stuff. Okay. So yeah, if you took this dog as a base, right, and then put it over here, what can we get to? I'm basically going to lop the head off and try and do something similar but different to this. Because that's like, I actually think we basically get to a lion with a little bit of hacking here. Like, see, that's surprisingly close already once you do stuff like this, right? Need a mane to make it look like a lion. That's a classic feature. So it'd have to be shaggy around the neck, like, yeah, like this maybe. That sort of thing. And then affix that back to the body with the right sort of mounting, if that makes sense. So like, maybe there, and then get in here. The mane needs to look like hair, and there's to be like a cut off where like the mane comes around and basically is going to hang down over the top of some of these legs here. You kind of also though need to dictate where the mane ends at the boundary of the face. That's the thing that's going to be hard to express here, because this line's going to look silly, I think, like that, just because he's wearing a big ass collar. Maybe that's not the right way to do it then. Let's think a little bit harder. It is in like a dog posture too, not a cat posture, but that's like, it's secondary to what's actually going wrong here. The mane might just be ambitious. Like, I think we'd be able to get, you know, you've almost convinced me that this is some kind of cat if you change the way the tail works. Like, because, you know, cats usually actively control their tail, so you might expect it to do something a little bit more interesting. Although I wouldn't have it up, would they? Like, it's going to be like dangling still probably, but it should dangle in like a curved way like this. Like that, maybe that. That's better. It looks like a mouse tail at the moment. We're closing in. The ears are the problem, I think. So wolves have bigger ears than cats. Cats have squared off ears, is also part of it. And cats also have front-facing eyes, which is the other thing that's tricky here. Because you're like, okay, now you've made a really dumb-looking cat, right? But it is important that it has an eye. It's tricky. That, like, you can imagine, okay, so if you do this, right, there is a way of reading this that implies the second eye, but there's also a way of reading this that just makes it look like the cat has a fucked up front of its face. Its ears are also back. That might be what's kind of weird here, right? Is it looks timid in this posture. back on the rock drawing layer. So I had that in there. I don't mind that. That's okay. What about like one ear forward, one ear backward? It looks so funny. It's not right.
It's like a monkey.
Looks like it has dentures, yeah, pretty much. It looks really grumpy if you take out that pixel as well. It's like the underjaw. Why? Yeah, doesn't mean it makes it look like a dog. Look at this. Like you just keep going on the upper jaw. It's swordfish. I don't hate it, but it looks like an ambiguous animal currently. Not specifically a cat. I think it's probably got a lot to do with the posture I've chosen with these back legs like this. It doesn't look like the way that a tiger or a lion normally stands. Maybe you can just upright it a bit and then like the proud posture can like read a bit better. Yeah, that's already better actually. Like they this is something I didn't think about, but this is more like how cats look. They slope down, not up. To be fair, wolves don't do this either, but this is like an angry wolf posture. This is like a normal lion posture. That helped a lot. I think it's really funny when you do this with the feet. It looks like it's wearing shoes. Okay, put them back, yeah. So maybe like the thing you're missing in this that would also make it look more like a cat is a nose of some kind, which is like what goes there, I suppose. But you really need a lot of room to get it in. Like we're gonna have to make the cat. So this is gonna look really funny for a sec. We're gonna make the cat look like this just to be able to fit the nose into a place that makes sense, right? It's not right. Okay. This is better. Oh, it looks a bit like the cat has a skull for a face. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. Yeah, burn it. Looks like the head has another head coming out of it. Is this worth it for the joke? Probably not. We're gonna do it anyway. Yes. There we go. It's a xenomorph cat. The skull bottom jaw isn't really connecting. There you go. I mean, that could be the design of the enemy. Maybe we'll keep a copy of this version. I mean, I think this isn't bad. Werebird. This is. What is a werebird? It looks like this. Okay. Javelin thrower. See, this is a bit underwhelming. I want it. Gambler fantasy. Like, is that a class? What's the gambler class look like? Is it? Yeah, I mean, I guess this is going to be a common archetype sort of look for it, isn't it? Cards. Okay, I mean, no, you look, this makes a point. Oh yeah, dice, that's true. You could have it like a mace with a die on it to hit people with. Might be hard to draw the pits, but I can imagine if we draw them big enough, we'll get it. I would like to see this bigger, not just on this website. An error has occurred. Retrieving image optimized for your screen. This is gonna give me like 200 viruses. What is this? What are you? I don't really think that's how I see my gambler looking. Gambler job, Final Fantasy. They just have a robe. Does that make you a gambler if you have a robe? Yeah, it's cards again. Gambler has a hat. Excellent. Yeah, chips on the table, gold, dice, roulette wheel. Red and black is the problem. We can't use colors once again. Is there like Gambler D&D? Is that a class someone's made? So I think the thing I'm considering is that you might be able to go this way. Oh, yeah, sorry. Well, it's like an even. It's like luck, right? And like you can see how the Joker archetype is often associated with luck as well as mischief, basically. So maybe we can draw from like sort of ways that Jokers are normally drawn with the hat and maybe even the mask, depending on how we can make it read. And then we have to sort of bring in like some kind of weapon. Maybe we can try and do the dice. We'll have a look. Ricky was clearly thinking about dice when he did this. Okay. Oh, and Acrobat was the other one we were going to look at, which we haven't made any progress on. Acrobat. You're going to see me go to Google manually for every search today. The image search on Brave search just isn't good enough. I need another shortcut. So yeah, like, I suppose that's what you would expect, a quarterstaff. I can finally use this pose. Do I have that pose used? Not quite, but it's literally this pose that this character it would be doing. Like, it's the Mr. Miyagi style. I can probably improve it. I'm going to pivot to trying this one just because I found an image I liked. So the first thing was that this should really, this should really touch this leg. Where are we looking? This should really touch this leg. And that probably means that that doesn't need to be like that. But if that's the case, then that should be like that, should be like that, should be like that, which looks wrong. So I'll put it back. Try that. So in this one, you can see this leg should be longer. So this whole thing is going to be longer in this version of the sprite. But that's going to still connect. Yeah, at the knee, you put your foot onto your knee to do this. And then maybe we actually bring this back up one because of that. And then this leg kind of... So like it does come in real life, but maybe not a pixel's worth because it doesn't look quite right. Maybe we just do this instead. And the body weight, that's the thing that's missing. The body weight has to be over this leg, right? That's why it doesn't look good. The body needs to be taller. It needs to be a little bit wider. Bring this arm out. One arm handstand. Ooh, that's true. An incredibly annoying pose to draw, but that would be very evocative. Let's think about it. So like, obviously one arm handstand is base of support. Like, and then you've got the head usually like here, shoulders are like this, his arms out like this, this is back this way, legs are like that. So to make this balanced, you actually need this to be more bent. It's going to be like this probably, is what they're going to be doing. And then this arm waves around depending on how they're trying to balance. Maybe they've just come off the ground. I don't know. They're like super confident because the other way is like the hand on hip in this position where you're like, watch me, I'll never fall over. I think that's not quite what I'm after here. And I think we should actually make it look like they're trying a little bit harder to be in this position, which means you probably need to bring that down, bring this across and over a little bit more. Yeah. And then this leg's too long, like straight up. It's not going to work like that. Yeah, like that's closer. The thing about this position is that firstly I've drawn the massive, which we can keep working on, but it's hard to understand how I'll go to meaningful attack poses from here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that, I just meant to move it. Hey, give me that. Yeah. Oops. Getting there, slowly but surely. This still reads off. Yeah. Yeah, maybe pushed up a little bit. Hey, just up. Okay, this is a difficult one to get right. Where's the take a dagger from the rogue. I did it again. I did it again. Didn't take the actual thing. Where is it? Yeah, copy, and then over here, paste, cool. Well, like that? I don't know. This is, I can't imagine how I'm going to make this work, but this is kind of good. Park that for the moment. You're sort of left wondering what the weapon for an acrobat would be, right? Daggers are common here. Quarterstaffs are common here. Homebrew edition, roguish, archetype, acrobat, yeah. That's a cool drawing. I mean, like we're not going to be able to get that pose to work either, but that's cool. Yeah, we do seem to think quarterstaffs are the weapon of choice. I guess you can do it. I could just try and like keep pushing on this direction, because you can imagine trying to get it behind the neck is a pretty dynamic pose, where you've got like the quarterstaff. It's got to be lower though. Cut the hands off for a sec. In this, obviously it's touching the shoulders, right? But if you have it like out, so imagine it's out like this, and then you've got like your arms come down and then up on each side to hold it. Like, pretty good. Delete some of the bits maybe, and then you'd probably put something on the end, right? So it looks like it does damage. The question to me is like, does this read well enough that this is behind the neck without like doing that maybe? Do I have to? Yeah, so it's possible to make this work, I think, but it's tricky to get my eye to see it the way I want to. Part of what might help here is the copying this part of the pose so that you're thinking about standing on something narrow. Same with this. This one would be like this. Because yeah, this immediately makes me think that needs to happen, or like maybe the lower level like that, or one higher like there. Something needs to change. Like that's butt once again here. about that? Yeah, I mean, this list coming a little far out to not actually come all the way back currently. I feel like that's better. And then we've got the problem I outlined before, that this intersection doesn't read quite right. You see, that's problematic too, about that, No, we really need it to be a straight line like this. And then I think we move the entire sprite one forward. But you see, I undid my body lead when I did that. Maybe it should be like, see, that's the problem. That's exactly the problem you just went through. The most difficult idea to execute. One moment, I'm going to put some music on for myself. Bring that down a little bit. And I'm almost 99,000,000% sure that the audio won't come through on the stream, but let's just make sure. Yes, I see. Nothing. Good stuff. So, yeah, we're going to try the gambler as well. That's right. I wanted to try the sort of jester vibe. So what are jester poses? Frolicking, yes. I don't know why, but this is pretty good too. I like that when they're jolly, it's good, right? Juggling, that's what jesters do. Maybe we could get it to work, because you know there's the classic I'm talking about the cards, sorry. The classic kind of pose you see people do where there's a head in the middle and the hands are up like this either side of it, and between them they're doing the card flick, where it's a series of cards they're shuffling. We could also just do juggling, right? Where it's you've got the head here. That's a big ass nose. I guess you can have a nose if you want. And then let's say there's just these pins that you're juggling, right? And the pins maybe double as something that you throw at the opponent. Where you've got look, let's put that one up there for the moment. Maybe spread these out a little bit. But then, so what? Yeah, for some reason, he's always on one foot in these depictions with 1 foot raised. The thing is, that makes more sense for this pose than this does. Because he's bouncing in real time, I guess. I don't know why, but for some reason the butt cheek seems to just make such a difference on these kind of illustrations. Looks he's dancing, that's pretty good. It's shake it to the left. That's too much, but we're getting there. We need the hat. So we're now glad that we saved the Joker hat idea, because we are going to need it here. Pump this up a bit, and then like that maybe. Look, I'm not in love with it the way I am with a lot of the other sprites we've got from today, but it's not a bad start. It's worth looking at some more. The body's a bit uninspired in terms of detail, which is part of it. Do they have? Yeah, they have a collar a lot of the time. Maybe that's probably. Oh, you know what it is as well? It's that the neck is a single pixel, right? That's what's really wrong with this. He's not looking in a particular direction. So you should be looking at what he's juggling, I think, which means probably shifting this over 1 pixel. We might take the shoulders off again, or just like do that. Yeah, that's better. And then you can sort of imagine, but that takes away a lot of detail doing that. Maybe we do something more like detail oriented here. I kind of want to get the checkered design in, but it's so hard to imagine how you'd do that in this like sort of resolution. Look, yeah, we'll keep this around. I'm not gonna say we'll sleep on it, but we'll see what we get to. Let's have a look at how big we can make some dice that read like dice too. So, obvious ways to draw a dice I can think of. Isometric would work. So like this. Yeah, and then maybe, well, based off that, makes you want to do this, but it's not a box then. Can I just like put a 1 on this side and like a 2 on this side legibly? Look, it's almost readable at that size. The other option is just obviously a straight up like square, and you can do the pits like this then to make it look like a dice. It's gotta be square though, so that's the problem I just ran into. Like that's maybe the best you can get. And then if you imagine this too, we can also kind of do a version like this, right? Where it's this way round. It should be one bigger than this. And then you can remove the inner part. Oops. There we go. Yeah, and then you can imagine that this would be like, just show me the 3-pip dice. Just show me what 3 pips are arranged as in a line, diagonal line, of course. That's obvious, I should know that. So you can do it like this, right, where you've got these dice in different orientations showing the view. And you can almost imagine him juggling these dice, but I think that's going to be kind of nuts to understand what's going on. There's a 2, for example, right? So you could have this guy again, where he's not juggling pins, he's juggling dice. But it's probably too hard to understand what the fuck's going on here. Or it's just too big. Yeah, I'm not in love with that either. Oh, I should put the knight in. Yeah, it's good. I'm just sort of like overviewing how far we've gotten. I'm gonna try and get the boar as well. I think we can probably be closer to the wolf design and get the boar to work. So the boar is going to be different because its jaw doesn't have to be as thick. But obviously the nose matters. And we need to do the tusks. So boar tusk. Oh, they're so cool, these ones, yeah. I don't know how we could draw that, but that's pretty dope. And where did their ears go? Yeah, they got pointy ears. They got this like sloped up head. It goes higher than I've got it here. Like they need to go almost like they got like a 5 head vibe going on. And then they have like quite a high back behind that. Like the stumpy creatures. They're not like, yeah, they're not like wolves. Piggy. Okay. Look, it looks like a pig, except for the tail. And then what do boar tails actually look like in the wild? Thin little short tails. Okay. Oh, we're almost there, I think, honestly. Let's go get the tusks to work. Is that it's got a moustache? How does it come out of its mouth? Yeah, the bottom jaw is where the tusk comes out of. What if we cheated and made it look completely different to a real boar? What do I mean by that? Yeah, it's a good question. What about like this, for example? Like it's like a moustache. It's great. Yeah, the problem is not so much the positioning of the tusk. It's more that I don't know how to make the contrast work right. Because, I mean, if you look at it, right, like in this case, it's coming out of like here in the mouth, like this. Well, like this, basically. But that doesn't look really like what we're expecting down here. It looks like he's just smiling when you do this, which is also hilarious. It's just like, maybe we have to open the jaw up a little bit so we can have him come out. I'm gonna make a vampire boar by accident doing this, look. This pixel here makes me want to try this way, up on the back side of the face, but it's also meant to look more like that. I hate you boars. Yeah. See, he's kind of above his snout. That's kind of the, like... Maybe the snout's too short. Maybe the face shapes were kind of wrong. Yeah, maybe it should be more, like... stretched. Look, he's going to have a big head for a moment here while I get this under wraps. So in that case, where they're coming up above, they point backwards. This is the thing, getting the nose in is really hard. It should be coming up like this then. Right, where you're like, they're actually coming up like here, and then on the other side too. That's not the worst weird thing we've done so far. Like you can cut out like this, right, to show where they're coming out of. Maybe let's go forward a little bit more to make that work. Like that's basically how these fangs work. I've pointed at the screen, you can't see that. These fangs work. Not awful, not perfect. That might be better, honestly, yeah. Put them all next to each other. There. Rearrange things a bit just to tidy up. Let's quickly save. Yeah. I'm quite happy with all of these, honestly. Like, this is better than I thought we were going to do today in terms of ideas already. So maybe we don't scrape the bottom of the barrel too much more. It's kind of difficult, right, to keep doing this for a really long time because you sort of have a certain amount of creativity and you just you get to the point where you're just clicking pixels being like, I don't know, does it look like a bore yet? So maybe I'll try and do something else. The brain drain is real from art, though. We could try and get into the game. I don't know if there's any point yet because I need to get feedback from Ricky/Twitter, I guess, as well, just to see what people think of where we are so far. Let's think. Okay, well, the other thing I wanted to think about is like that design problem I mentioned before. I don't think we're going to get to programming it, but if I pop this back up, no, it's in my downloads though, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how much of a benefit just taking some time away to come back it gives you. Like, you just can't see the forest for the trees with your own work when you just like stay this close to it the whole time. I often find that it's at least like a sleeping on it and reading it in the morning for like writing is it's like I was about to say it's like night and day, but that's like a terrible pun. Sorry, I just totally derailed myself with that. Yeah, it's like you're two different people, right? So the person who wakes up in the morning can read it and not feel like they're judging the person from yesterday as themselves. That's kind of what I was trying to get to. Alright. So, I'm not really sure what I want to do on this problem at the moment, except for just talk about it. I might just talk out loud and see if it makes me realize things. So the issue is, when you're in a long battle in the game and you're on the back foot, in terms of like, you have, in this highly sophisticated diagram, you got the bard with one unit next to him, and there's two enemies. So you're like, in this scenario, it's possible for me to win, but it's very difficult. So we want to give the players something that they can do in a situation like this. Currently, you can run away, but that isn't really a solution that I'm super into, especially because you can just play this game of running around the map until you can get out the door. But something that we can probably pull off for the player is letting them, if they have one unit left, you can send that unit out the door to go and get help. And then the next turn, that unit can come back and you get a chance to place more units that you have in your army. There are some specific questions I have around this, though, which I need to work out. Like, one of them being that currently the doors are locked in a room you get into for the first 10 turns of combat, and they unlock after 10 turns and you can run away. But the question is, if you can send units at the door, should you be able to do that before those 10 turns have elapsed? Can you only do it afterwards? If you can only do it afterwards, why wouldn't you just run away from the room? Yeah, like, is there like a two-tiered approach where the bard can't use the door but the units can? That doesn't seem right. maybe I might be solving too many problems at once, right? Because perhaps there should be some other incentive that makes it bad to run away. Like maybe you forfeit something if you run away from a room, or you don't get the rewards. I think that would probably make the most sense. We haven't really talked enough in recent times about the purpose of running as a game mechanic, running from a combat encounter, that is. I might actually just put that in a box and not think about it for this particular discussion. So let's assume that after the doors unlock is the way it's going to work, because the doors are open, right? You can send units out of an open door. It seems like a reasonable approach. If we send our unit out of the open door and then they come back one turn later, does the unit come back through the door and then trigger the you can place more units mode, like you enter that mode? Or does that unit go out, one turn passes, and then you get into the place more units mode, and one of the units you can place is this unit? This only has really one implication, which is how much control over the positioning should you have of this unit you sent away. Because if you send it out one door and it comes back in the same door, it's obviously going to be in the same spot where it left from. And that might be problematic, because an enemy could have moved into the way of the door in that time. It's also more difficult than just popping the unit placement dialogue. So I kind of want to mess with the code a bit and see how hard it is to just summon the unit placement panel at a time that isn't the start of the combat encounter. So maybe we'll quickly have a look at what that code looks like to try and wrap my head around it. Oh, that's Unit 2, not Unity. Bard game. The other thing I was considering trying to do today, but it's really not a good streaming activity, is trying to upgrade the Unity version of the project. I can't remember why I didn't succeed the last time I tried to upgrade the Unity version of this project. I'm not sure whether it was just laziness or some critical problem, but I want to get onto, what are the versions? I want to get from, where's my mascot? I want to get from 2020.1 to 2020.3, which is not a huge jump in terms of changes to the APIs, but it does bring some. It's not for the game itself. There's some tooling stuff I've been building that requires 2020.3 for it to work, so I'm going to have to upgrade the game to use the tooling on that project. That's the problem. Why are we importing every asset in the game? What is happening? Bard game. Oops. Why is this happening? Characters. Cool. Commit that file and push that up. Everything is crashing. Oh, I know why, of course. Right. 1 second, I gotta get the code up. I have a package installed. This is exactly what I was just talking about. I have a package installed that's only compatible with the newer version of Unity. Manifest.json. Yeah, this one. Goodbye. And we don't do that one either. Yeah. Come back. Can you restore packages? Oh, I may have broken the syntax. Yeah, that's the one. Can't do trailing comments in JSON. Cool. I'm going to pump the text size up a little bit in VS Code because I know it's hard to see on OBS usually. Sorry, you're going to have to see my version of my screen. No, it's impossible to do this. I can check the stream. I just want to know if this is readable. Okay, look. Let me know if this is too small. That's what I'm going to say. Cool. Come on. We can look at the code in the meantime. So if we look at unit placement view controller. Yeah, so these are all the events. Yeah. So we're in the controller. That's the tutorial. Disabling the tutorial. Yeah. So this is first placement tutorial. Does this get called? On began unit placement. This is named poorly. This should be called begin unit placement. And yeah, so we check if there's a cutscene. If there is, we wait for it to finish before doing anything else. This is disabled, the tutorial. Unit placement is active. Show it undeployed units. That's good. How do you know max units to place? How is this determined? Ah. Okay. So now we're going to do something different, which is a private. This is begin additional unit placement, I guess. And this is like, the name is bad, but triggered when the player can spawn units a second / third / nth time in the encounter. So what would be different? We wouldn't need to check. We don't need this. I don't expect we need this either. We might. Let's leave it in there. But that's the same, right? So what we actually need to do is just call begin unit placement, which is yield return. And this is spelled it wrong. Yeah, so let's see. The main thing is that we just want to set the max units to place equals 1, I think, here. Oh, and place unit count should be 0. That should really be in here. And I suppose there's some other stuff, like we just gotta make sure the state gets reset properly. So yeah, no selected unit. Unit placement active is already being managed by this variable. I mean, I think it's worth just trying it now. So we're just going to trigger this. I'll bind it to a key for now, I think. So here. This is going to be called unit went for help. What's placement indicator? Oh, shouldn't that be in begin unit placement? Yeah, that's not a real event yet. So yeah, a unit went to go and get help. What unit was it? That's probably all we really need to capture in there for now. We don't even use that variable yet, so honestly, maybe not yet. Then you can imagine that in the developer encounter utility system, which is my debug keys file, you can see alpha, everything is mapped to, yeah, backspace, delete, end, R. So what about this? This is, so what key code should we use? You're running out of keys on the keyboard sometimes. Can we use a semicolon? Yeah. So that ought to trigger this coroutine, which will let us place units again. Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, because if it's that easy to just like to summon it on a key press, then it's only one more step for me to wire this up to what happens when a unit leaves the room. And we might even be able to just implement like a very rough cut of the feature like immediately. Let's, yeah, turn off the lighting, put us in 2D mode, and come back out. Why is my background turned back on? Is that this? Yeah, that's it. That's better. Oh, I've got the default layout for some reason. That's better. Yeah, I don't know why Unity forgot my settings. Alright. Oh my god, I can hear the music in the game pretty loudly. Okay. Turn the music volume to 0 by default. That was dumb. 0.0 without the F, yeah. Ah, oh, man, you can feel the urge to go and check Twitter is strongest while looking at the rainbow wheel of death, waiting for Unity. Cool. Come on, come on, come on, you can do it. Yeah, nice. That's very rare to get this. What the hell? Let me in. Yeah. This isn't gonna. Problems. Okay, we need more units to be able to test this functionality. We have no money. We will find a monk if we beat this room, which we can just do for free though. Okay. Oh, did I? VSync. This is a trick I realized last time. If I VSync, yeah, then we cap to 120, which is much less GPU usage. I got my buddy. Okay, now let's have a look at one of these. So, just imagine we don't place all our units, but we put them near a door, I guess. Oh my god, the game's so loud the way I've got my audio balanced. We can't end unit placement early. Annoyance. You know what? Let me just go to data graphs. Room graph, is that the one? PopX not open. No, I put the episode graph actually, sorry. Yeah, and then in dynamic down here, properties. Can I make you, refresh data, properties, starting party. Just bump the size of this up to 6. Put a rogue in there, put an archer in there, why not, right? Yeah, cool, okay, refresh the whole graph. This is some very, very alpha quality software right here, but I do like the prototype even here for what it gets me do to edit the level properties. Cool. Okay, much better. And they don't react to my mouse cursor on this screen anymore. They do make sounds when you click on them, but yeah. Cool. So imagine we just donk down 4 of our buddies here. Go stand in the corner. Yeah. Sure, why not go attack? That was a good start, yeah. You shoot at this person. Hey, you can go and hit you. Wow, you killed him on your own? What? Oh, we actually don't want to kill this guy, I just realized. But we do want to get the doors unlocked. That unlocks them. So I didn't need to do that, I can just press this button. So I re-triggered unit placement, but it didn't show the bar. Which you might think is actually the most important part of the whole thing. So, why does that happen? When this gets called, it's in response to this event. When does this event get dispatched? So you dispatch it, and then you listen to this to show... Oh, you just update it. Unit placement confirms that visible false. And then you never set it back? I would assume you do that. And that actually draws into question how to approach this. It makes me think that it should probably probably doesn't need to be its own coroutine if that's all that it does. Puts this in here, and then we just do a events.dispatch new began unit placement. Is there anything that there's a parameter to this? No. Which means we actually don't even have to give it a concrete began unit placement. Yeah. So imagine that, we can just delete that because the coroutine was just doing that same work. Yeah. So now the same event is dispatched regardless then. And that will trigger, because this event now triggers this event, and the army line replacement also listens to this event, it's just going to line up. Let's assume that's the way it works and see if we're right. So how long have we been going for now? We've been going for like 2.5 hours on stream, yeah? I think we've got about half an hour more of this, see if we can get some kind of prototypey thing working, and then I might switch over to, there's a game I want to play, so I'll probably just stream myself playing that for a little bit. And then, yeah, I don't know, probably go and like work out dinner after that. So pick one of you, once again. We're going to place our units. We just have to get to unit placement. I played the whole encounter for no reason before. Put 4 of those in. Bring this menu back up. So we didn't get what I wanted. Why not? Because I didn't save it. Annoying. Alright, well while it's recompiling, I'll show you the game that we're going to play. If Steam would like to actually load. Yeah, Jupiter Hell. Take me to the game. Update already. Ooh, yeah, let's get it. Yeah, this game, let's go to the store page. This game, I've only played a little bit so far. It seems pretty sick. It's like a grid-based, turn-based shooter. There's a lot of history behind like how we got to this version of the game that isn't important, but basically it seems like XCOM, but like I don't hate it. So that's a pretty good pitch for a game, right? XCOM, but like, I like it. Pay me to pitch a game. It's like this other game, but it's good. See you, Zaman. Have a good rest of your day. We did the opposite. Ah, yeah. It did what we told it to do. I'm sure somebody noticed that, and somebody watching noticed that and is like, how could you? How dare you miss that? I need a little stream widget that shows what I'm listening to on Spotify. Oh, my neck. I must be leaning forward a little bit. Press this. Much better. And I'm allowed to put one more down. And it ends itself, and it gives it over to their turn. They destroyed that guy, and I can do it again, and bring in Draban the Defiant. Oh, apparently not though. So, why can't I select him? On unit selected for placement. Who listens to this event? Excuse me? Who listens to this event? Yeah. If it's an ally, if placed unit count is less than max units to place, I thought we looked just before at, placed unit count equals 0, began unit placement, selected unit ID equals 0, max units to place equals 1. And then unit selected replacement. Wait 2 seconds. If the selected unit ID equals that, pointer display mode placing. So what, is the click not working? Or is the filtering not working? Oh, the placement turn didn't get reset. Right. Yeah, it's a problem with poor state management in this particular file. Placement turn starts off as ally, I'm assuming? Yeah, it needs to become ally here. Why does it? Okay, don't worry. That took a minute. Alright, that's probably why. It's the enemy's turn to place a unit currently. The compile times, man. Makes you sad. Let's quit out of Miro. Let's look at these people again over here. Yeah, I'm quite happy with what we got with these guys. Quite a lot of designs, honestly. If we're going to post to Twitter, I think I'll probably sort of separate out the clearly work in progress pieces from the rest of it. So like take these guys and just sort of like shimmy them down. And we have enough room now that we can actually just take all these sprites with that and move them much further across. And then these can sort of shimmy on under there, yeah. Move that across, move them back across. So these sprites might be a bit big, is the thing I'm wondering, because I know this one already looks big in game. I have a centaur too, don't I? Like, I drew one. I have a centaur prefab. Oh, we just changed the sprite, that's why. It's called a centaur, but it is a werehorse. Okay. do it once. I can drop this guy in and scatter them to the wind. Nice. And I can place this one. Cool, so this works, apart from that it doesn't get triggered from the condition I want it to. So let's do another one, which is unit left room. Left through door. Yes, if this happens, then big unit went for help. That's the one. We might need to slightly delay that response, but let's have a look. Actually, no, we definitely do need to... No, because this has already changed the data, so it should be alright. But we might need to put like a 0.1 second kind of delay in there. We'll have a look. I don't know if you saw that, I like spring-loaded my hand and threw it at my face for no good reason there. I don't know what I was doing. Oh. Yeah, we gotta stretch that neck out, baby. That's good stuff. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Okay, well that's a terrible starting placement, but do that. Move you up here. You can leave next turn. Don't get killed. Don't get smacked. So you can go through here. Ah, we actually did do it wrong, yeah. So we have to enqueue it for the next turn. That's the tricky thing. Which actually calls for an entire... So let's go do this. There's two things. So do that. And unit with backup, yeah. So we're sending up the right event, but really there should be some kind of process that occurs and then the unit comes back, and that's what kicks off the second half. So unit returned with backup is what starts this. And that also might benefit from a delay. Speed? Is that in here? No. I need a new dependency. Game, speed, gameplay speed system. Gameplay speed system. Speed. No, not speed system, just speed. Speed equals speed. Why would you do that to me, Unity? Cool. And then down here in the delay, time? Yeah, that's the one. Time seconds, 0.1f. And that returns a float still though. You know, where's the version of this that returns a time span? That's what I should really build. Span, yeah, span. Time span, and that just returns, sorry. It returns a return new time span, no, time span dot from new time span. I just want the millisecond one. There is a time span from seconds, isn't there? Time span dot from seconds, yeah, I know it exists. Where is this bit of code? This is in Time span. But why? You probably didn't need to do this then? What? What have I done wrong? This is using the system. Oh, forgive me. I didn't understand. Of course, I'm shadowing the name. So maybe like... It's kind of hard to name this method as something other than time span. And so perhaps the answer is do not import system, but instead just prefix, yeah? Like that. This is good. Now we can go to this file, this file, and yeah, now this is a time span. I'm so bad at this, there we are. And then, yeah, the other thing is we need a system that tracks this state occurring. So it's like, 1, unit went for help. 2, your turn ends. 3, enemy turn happens. 4, unit returns with backup, right? That's the sequence. So we need something that keeps track of that process. That's not too bad, yeah. We'll have to go into the encounter and add a new system to hold some state that'll, remember that for us. Still going, come on. Have we compiled? We have compiled. Okay, so if we go to level, encounter, and then we need to add a new system to the systems blob up here. So what's this system called? This is the unit went for backup. Actually, no, the reinforcements system is a catchier name. Define reinforcements. Spelled correctly. Good. Waiting again for compiling. This is it's absolutely ridiculous how long it takes to compile this code. It's not that much code. How much code is it? So if we go to Bard game, yarn run clock. Wait, what? Oh. How many lines? We've got, 30,000 lines of C#, 193,000 lines of Unity prefab, Bit of shader, bit of F#, bit of XML, tiny bit of Markdown. I mean, it's not bad, right? That's like quite a bit. Okay, this has got to move. It's going to make us compile again, unfortunately. We need to put this in the systems folder. Yep, see, it's like, oh look, it's all ready to go. No, it's going to compile in a second. Yeah, this little guy likes to hang out. This is cache server disabled. What does the cache server do? Oh. Okay, well, go away. We're not going to do that. So the reinforcement system. So the namespaces in this are all called grid-based because that was the name of the game at the start, just a grid-based game. This is a domain, a subdomain, so we'll call it reinforcements as the namespace. Reinforcement system. So what's this going to do, right? It's going to, in its void awake method, it's going to do use events. Trust me, this exists. I know how I can get it if this doesn't work it out. Yeah, there we are. Disposer. Add event. Oh, we haven't got any events. That's going to be a problem. We have to inject our events. So we're going to do dependency injection here. I'm using Zenject for Unity. So you'll see how this works here. If I get the OmniSharp, what are you doing? Find the dependency. Yeah. So you do method injection for mono behaviors like this, where you can call this method whatever you want. I just call it inject, and then we get the it's event manager event manager events. That's the one. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. I know. And that's events equals events. And then this doesn't exist, so create the field for me. I don't know why it's been so laggy. But it's pathetic. I know that you can do it. Yeah, really on event. And so when the unit went for help, wait, do we find it? Yeah. Right, so yeah, then we do something with that event. We're going to have some internal save we're going to manage. Quickly save, and we need to import unirx. So I'm just going to, what am I doing? F, yeah. Like that maybe is nicer. And if a unit goes for help, then we need to track that it's happened, obviously. So ooh, but multiple could go for help, theoretically. Naive. Maybe that doesn't matter, right? Like, well, why would you do this? What if you send 2 units for help? What's the expectation from the player if you send 2 units for help? There's probably 2 rounds of it, right? You send the unit away on 1 turn, comes back and you bring reinforcements. But then you end your turn when you finish reinforcements anyway. I don't think it can really happen. We'll do it. We'll just ignore it for now. So unit went for help. Yeah. So obviously unit went for help equals true here now. Then we also have more events to bind, right? So we need to basically steal this block here and then just make another one of them. and when turn started dot where unit went for help and where x dot unit dot who. Does this not include the who is taking turn field? It doesn't. Yeah, read this one. Who is, hey, come on, give me control. Who is taking turn equals unit dot ally. So if we are waiting for unit who went for help, and if it comes our turn again, then we say they're not waiting anymore, and we do events.dispatch unit returned with backup. So that's like the gist of this system, right? It just handles this little bit of logic. I think that's it. So let's see if this works. Be remarkable if I got it actually correct in the first go, but it's conceivable. Nice. Begin. Wait, I probably can't just run this, actually. Is this from clicking run that I'm waiting now? Yeah, it was. That's taking even longer than usual. Yeah, we'll have to, sure, save, yeah, go from here. Is there like a way of making Spotify really small? Is there a mini player? Oh my, I hate when things steal your focus. You can use the menu. No. So put one of these guys in front of here. One in front of here. So then this should put you out here, which will end our turn. And then we get to place units. Yeah. I mean, that worked, right? But I can control currently, which is not what I want. Does that happen already? Like, when I start the encounter, can I move the bard in the unit placement mode, or have I got some other bit of state that's not being controlled here about... We have to turn off your ability to select the units while you're placing new units, because otherwise you can't tell whether you're trying to click on a unit just to, like, pick it up, or to actually move it. I was like, yeah, I can't click on the bard. Can I see in my settings? Is there a control system? Yeah. So why does clicking on the bard do nothing here? Is it in the unit aggregate that we determine who's selected? Unit selected. Oh, so your selection updated. Who dispatches this? Dispatch. Does no one dispatch it? Oh, it's there, but this isn't the only case, is it? Selectable unit on event. No. I mean, these are almost an area, but yeah. What determines when this event gets dispatched then? What is selectable? Who is taking turn equals unit allegiance. I think it's just not your turn at the start. I reckon we might have to do the input disabling. Disable. Ignore. Gameplay. Ignored. That's the word I'm looking for. Gameplay input ignored. That's the one. I swear something moved in my vision over here. So gameplay ignored. Unit placement. View controller. This routine here. Yeah, I think we can just ignore the input here. And then we want to disable that when this runs. Look at this. What is the opposite of this? Gameplay enabled. Yeah. I think that might do it. I'm not sure. Come on. Find the event. Find the event. Find the... This is pathetically slow. The began unit placement event. Does this get in the encounter lifecycle of the sequence? We should probably be doing that there. So this is the began. And what that does is this. Oh my god, what am I doing? Events.dispatch gameplay input ignored. It's amazing how bad the IntelliSense is at the moment for some reason. Both of these need to be imported from another namespace. Yeah. It's okay, this is like a mini Microsoft complaint, I guess, but it's insane that like C# is probably one of the most popular languages on the planet, right? And the tooling for it is awful. Like, using VS Code made by Microsoft, OmniSharp made by Microsoft to work on C#. What are we doing here? We just spent like 30 seconds looking for information about this code base. I know these events exist. These are in a namespace. They're referenced everywhere. And the IntelliSense can't find them? Like, let's just go and find where these are defined, right? In this other file, we know where this is. And it's in codebase.control. Now I can just go and put the namespace in. Apparently not. Like, how hard was that? You immediately knew. Oh, that's what's changing out there. You see this? Oh, you can't see it on the stream. Don't worry. Like, why do you have to hold the computer's hand to go and find a type? Like, it knows where all the types are. I just searched for the text, I found it, and it has passed this code. How do we not know? Ranting on stream. That's what makes it an official programming stream. You gotta rant about something. You gotta rant at Microsoft usually. I mean, what else is there to rant about? Any second. I think that we're probably gonna get this to work now. That protection should probably have been there before. What I'm concerned about is whether it blocks any other actions I should be able to take during unit placement. I'm not sure that I should be able to do anything but place units during unit placement. That would make sense to me. Sick. Right, so that's the problem. You can't pick a square if the gameplay input is disabled. We almost need a different kind of state then. I'm willing to table this for another session. Let's climb both those out. To do, Ben. We need to prevent unit selection being possible during unit placement. Disabling all input is excessive and breaks placement. Oh, not what I expected to get there. Yeah. You just can't win with the editor sometimes. Alright, cool. Yes, like I'm basically imagining with that, what we're going to need to do is like, idea, new events, this, unit selection disabled, and unit selection enabled. Who tracks state? Each selectable unit component, messy, duplicated, or maybe turn aggregate? Yeah, I think so. That seems like a good place to pick up next time I'm working on this, yeah. So let's commit some stuff. We don't want to commit that change, that was a debug change. Don't commit the music volume reset, yeah. We'll commit that separately. We need this one. Was that second one? Yeah, it's good. And then encounter. And we'll make that separately too. So this is prototype unit reinforcements system. Implement gameplay speed system time span util until util. We don't need to do this currently. This might make it kind of upset. I'm hoping it removes some of these changes from this file though. Cool, I'm quite happy with what we got done today actually. There's a lot of art. Got a bit of a headache, so I think I might actually I might take a break and play games a little bit later, so I'll probably end the stream in like a couple of minutes here. Let me just see if we get any progress on that diff. Yeah, it's gone, good. And so we haven't really done anything to merit pushing a build because there's no publicly visible data changes yet. Save it for the weekend to upload a new version of the game. Cool, so just anyone who's hanging around here, let me just show you. I just closed Twitch chat, whatever. So what we're working on here is 2PM Studio. It's the game studio that I'm exactly one half of. The game we're working on currently is the Song of the Fae, which you're seeing the source for here behind you. If you want to get access to this, if you want to play it, if you want to just find out more about the process and like what goes into it, you can support us on Patreon, and you can also get the game on itch at the moment. So you can buy it now if you want on itch, or you can get the game as a reward on Patreon if you back us at the this is the public page for you, please. If you back us at the Teapot's $12.50 Australian dollar a month tier or higher, you'll get access to the game builds and a version of the game when the game is finished on Steam or itch. And if you want to go the whole way to the highest tier level, you actually can see the source code itself. So I'm uploading source code snapshots of the game. So you can see one here as an example. You just get a zip file with the version, the game version, and the commit that it was up to. And yeah. So if you enjoyed this stream or any of the other ones that I've done, consider supporting us and checking out the game and letting us know what you think. I'm really keen to hear what people think of this game. So let's bring up OBS quickly. Yeah, thanks. Thank you for hanging out, guys. It's been fun as always, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out. I can't see my feet. Peace out. That's the one.